Hello, and welcome to Now We Know, where we revisit traumatic and delightful kids' pop culture of the 80s and 90s.
That's right. Each episode, we look back at something impactful from our youths through the jaded eyes of adulthood. I'm Chris Tognotti. With me here is Kevin Werkheiser.
Hello.
And with both of us is friend of the show, listener, supporter, DT.
What's up? How's it going,
Hey.
guys? Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, glad you joined the podcast today to discuss something very near and dear to your heart, which I has just been reawakened in me for the very first time.
Yeah,
Or
welcome
awakened, pardon, couldn't be reawakened.
Welcome back to the Academy. We missed you.
Yes, I suppose we always let people plug their things on this show. DT, you have a popular Twitch.
Taps. What the fuck? Hey, yeah, sure. People have been known to watch it from time to time. I had over 1,000 people from Europe watch a stream a couple weeks ago. Pretty sure that was just some sort of weird algorithm, but count it.
Whatever. Still counts.
Yeah.
Still counts.
DT from B-Town. I'm on Twitch and I'm also on YouTube. Right now I'm doing the Super Nintendo Greatest Games Countdown, which is a lot of fun. I did the Nintendo, the NES previous to that. And we're just having a little fun discussion about the greatest basketball players of all time. And then I just play a lot of Tecmo Super Bowl. So that's pretty much the crux of the DT from B-Town experience. But there's all kinds of wacky hijinks that happen there.
You did top SNL performers, so I liked quite a bit. The basketball one, I did not check into the NBA until fairly recently, really. Who knows why? And it's delightful, even for people that maybe don't know about the things. DT, for those that don't know, was a buddy of mine since high school. But in high school, he used to call the games, the basketball games, the football games on occasion, I feel like. So he brings that same energy to Nintendo game, Tecmo Super Bowl, which I appreciate.
That's what I was going for. You've seen it. You recognize that's what I was trying to do. That was the whole plan with this whole channel here. Thanks for recognizing that. Yeah, Kevin, we've been friends since high school. We were in multiple friend groups, the TV production friend group, the drama kids, the drama nerds, and then I don't know. When did you move? You were like in my neighborhood in that one summer.
Oh yeah. Senior year. Yeah. My senior year, your post senior year.
That was a good time.
It's true.
I miss living like walkable distance to you.
Yeah, it was a good time. Miss living walkable distance to your mom.
Oh,
there was a lot of David's mom's discussion in high school. It's all a good fun now. But so anyway, why?
I'm gonna try to shake that off. I'm gonna try to shake
Police Academy. Sorry. Police Academy 4. Why'd you do it? What brought this to you, and what brought it to us? Oh, good sweatshirt. I just realized what you're wearing.
Oh yeah.
What's that? What is that?
It's like
the peachy,
one of these old school folders,
Oh, nice.
You remember these?
Yeah.
Was there a generation? My mom says she had these.
Oh yeah, they feel like they came up in the 40s and then just maintained. Yeah, I think so. Maybe 50s. I'm not saying your mom's that old.
Okay,
this isn't your mom joke.
Yeah. All right. Police Academy 4 is what I came up with. So yeah, I've been kind of trying to. I've listened to your guys' podcast for quite a bit, but I was kind of catch up. By the way, congrats on having so many episodes. You guys must know a lot by now.
Oh, yes, we sure do.
No, so very, 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 very much.
Have you listened to one of our season finale episodes? That's when we do the full intro with every one of our little stinger voice lines at the end. It's become an increasingly interminable chore to edit it because we don't recycle it. We have integrity. We do a whole new one each time. I think I edited the last one. It was like, 2 hours minimum of just cobbling together all the clips, balancing the volumes.
It's getting a little beefy, but anyways, that's pretty great. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about stuff that because I do, I like to I play NES games a lot still. So I was trying to, and I do like to watch. I like to go back and watch stuff from the '90s and '80s, even stuff that I liked. I like to revisit it. Like it's kind of my thing anyway. But I was trying to think of stuff that I have not revisited that I really loved back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of emerged, and I was like, it's a bit of a mystery. Like, what is it? Police Academy 4, and why 4? And what was the whole deal with the Police Academy anyway? It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
they just cranked them out.
It was a question I found myself asking a lot during
Oh,
the
a
88
low
minutes of
blow.
watching it.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe you're taking dead aim at this movie already. We've barely even waded in.
Yeah, and I definitely loved it. I'm trying to think what was the likely how old I was. It came out in '87. I was a little surprised it was that old, but I'm thinking that maybe I probably it'd be hard to believe that I saw it before I was 7, which would have been 1988 about.
Okay.
So I don't know if
You
it
don't
was.
remember going to the theater being taken to?
I definitely saw Police Academy 6 in the theater.
Because you had been laying the groundwork.
Yeah.
They'd seen how much you went crazy for number 4.
Yep.
And it's
Was
like, well,
anyone
how
else
many
in the
more of these
theater?
are they going to make? We might not have too many more chances.
I have a memory. I was really thinking about this a lot today, and I have a memory of renting Police Academy 1 in 19. It would have been during the 88-89 school year because I know where I watched it. It was in my mom's classroom at Armin Jar Elementary School while she
His
was,
mom was a teacher.
yeah, while she was doing some work, and it was like, you can rent a movie. You gotta hang with me, but you could watch if you want to rent a movie. So I picked Police Academy 1. I believe is because I needed to see the backstory because I maybe already seen 4 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Watching something as raunchy and transgressive as a Police Academy movie in any kind of classroom must have been must have made you feel like you were ahead of the curve, You have a secret.
I think that I was very proud of myself for liking these movies. I think I was like, dude, I get this humor. This is like kind of like an adultish like movie-ish. And
Yeah.
I get it. Like, oh yeah, I know why that's funny.
This is grown-up stuff.
Yeah.
A bird pooped on that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
this one though, maybe I'm not so sure if there's
You're-
really that much that I wouldn't have understood when I was 7, honestly.
You're wearing your smoking jacket. You've got your pipe with bubbles coming out of it. It's like a very sophisticated gentleman.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that this might have been the first one I saw. Is maybe why it resonated. I don't know. I'm almost 100% sure that this was the one that I felt was the cream of the series. So, and I mostly just thought it was funny that was in my head.
Yeah.
Like,
why are you reacting this way and seeming cagey and uncomfortable that this is your favorite Police Academy movie? Come on, you gotta stand on your word here.
Listen, we'll see. I don't know. Let's get into it.
All right. I should say that my Police Academy background as a child, it was solely that I knew of the movies kind of as like a punchline. Like I wasn't really aware of them when they were around until I was probably in middle school, so late 90s. And my perception of them was always, oh, they're on Comedy Central all the time. My dad says that they're bad. He likes some of those. Some of movies like that, weirdly, he will like, but he never liked Police Academy. And then I watched a couple of them with my brother as a gag a few years ago. 1 and 2, I was not blown away with, rather, but the great thing about life, time's arrow only moves one direction. I have experiences and context now I didn't have before, such as having seen Police Academy 4. It gives me this sense of the arc of the whole thing, and, maybe you come to appreciate things in a different way.
It's crucial to understand the arc.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I watched all the police academies when I was a kid. As anytime they were on, that was just like a good time. I feel like they're probably pretty heavily edited for USA Network.
Those talented graduates are back in Police Academy.
Which is where I saw them 90% of the time. I thought they were great. I will go into detail on each character as we go, but then I remember thinking these are funny, good movies. I don't know why, like my mom seems to not agree with that when she walked in the room. And then in the early 90s, K-Rock, KROQ in LA used to put out a tape in the comedy bits at Christmas time, and Bobcat Goldthwait did a bit on there talking about like getting revenge against all the girls that wouldn't go out with him, basically, and saying, Bobby Big Butt's a big star now. He said, Police Academy 2, 3, 4, Shakes the Clown, Hot to
Yeah.
Trot. So
Hot to
every
trot.
time.
Let's go.
Every time this comes up, I think Police Academy 2, 3, 4.
I was a little interested. I'm confused about, well, I mean, I'm a little less confused today, but I was confused for a while
It's a
about
rich text.
the Police Academy backlash, which there seemed to be. And
Yes.
because, well, I shouldn't be that confused because I did spend a good $1.99 to rent Mission to Moscow,
Oh,
which they for some reason did not get the 7. It was just Police Academy Mission to Moscow, as if they knew they
Yeah.
wanted to separate it.
That's never a good sign when you get deep enough that the abandonment of the number feels like a necessity. Like it would strain our credibility for people to know there had been 7 of these. We have to hope they've forgotten how many we've already released.
Yeah.
So they see the title, they're like, "Is this the 5th one?" They
right.
couldn't
I
have made
remember
more
liking
than
one
4
of
of
them.
these.
Yeah. Is this the one I liked?
But my recollection of watching that at age 12 or 13 was that it was a deeply unfunny movie.
Wow, that's rough.
Yeah.
This is the only thing I mentioned in our pitch meeting, which will be released as behind the scenes content alongside this episode.
Get excited.
You brought us a list of ideas to choose from. The only thing I knew Steve Guttenberg from, he was merely an idea in my mind because of that joke in that Simpsons song, the Stonecutters song they all sing. Steve Guttenberg is there. And they claim that they're what keeps Steve Guttenberg a star. I think it's quite clear what keeps Steve Guttenberg a star, and it's the perpetual intervention in his life and career of Paul Maslansky, the producer of the Police Academy series.
Oh.
Okay. Didn't see it going there, but all right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is what kept him big, right? Like, there's nothing else that's going to give you 10 years.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Short Circuit. There's
Oh,
High
okay.
Spirits with Peter O'Toole. Not Peter O'Toole's best work, I think. I don't know. Different people have different opinions.
Yeah, no, he does have a pretty thin resume for someone that seemed like he was super ubiquitous in the 80s. But there's 3 Men and a Baby. That's his other baby.
Of course. 3 Men and a Baby was one of the men.
He's not the baby. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
So PA4. Shall we jump in?
Yeah, I just want to quickly give the tale of the tape on this one. This is released April 3rd, 87, pardon me. 1987. Hey, take it easy. We've all had a long day. 88 minutes in length. and box office take 76.8 million against a budget of just 17 million. This was an enormous financial success.
Woo!
I cannot believe it was 17 million. I was like watching this, I was like, what the fuck is the I guess it's 80s money, but still I was astonished
Yeah.
at the level of financial mayhem that was going on.
Yes. Yes, indeed. 17 million, but they made it all back and then some. This was solid gold for our friends at what studio did the Police
Oh,
Academy?
it's our
Warner
guys.
Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
We can't get away from these guys.
So they could have had Mahoney on the sidelines during Space Jam too.
Yeah. Oh, that would. There was no Police Academy world that he drifted past.
We could have had
Bob
LeBron writing his ideal roster on the whiteboard, and it would have been like Iron Giant, King Kong, Tackleberry,
Yeah.
Hightower.
Yeah, obviously
Center.
Hightower's too good. He's OP. You can't. You see him dunk in this, and it is nothing if not a magical dunk.
Oh my gosh.
He clearly does not jump. It's almost as though the world sort of curdles around him to make the rim right where it needs to be.
What a moment.
Yeah.
I have a lot of takes about that scene.
So did I. So, yes, and we should mention, we just said there are 7 Police Academy movies. There was also a TV series in the 90s that had some of the actors from the films in some of the episodes. And
the cartoon too.
The cartoon.
that's true. There was also a cartoon. It's a sprawling piece of Warner Brothers IP. And also they churned out 7 movies in 10 years, which is an astonishing clip. That's like Friday the 13th territory. And it is telling to me that it feels like in the 80s and 90s, this was a thing that you can't imagine now. I can't imagine, like maybe the Saw movies, they had a lot of those in a pretty tight time frame, but like for a non-horror movie, frankly, this feels impossible now. Like we did 8 comedies in 11 years all under this one banner. It's a very antiquated idea, it feels like.
Yeah.
Just 17 million to 76 million. I mean, I'm sure they were all like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just printing money with this franchise.
Yeah.
And like critically despised.
Yeah.
And it's like no one cares.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Just
So
print that money. Print that
Nobody's-
money.
Nobody's checking with Siskel to see, oh, well, what about Please Get Me 3? Is
Yeah.
this one better than the first 2, Sisk?
They're reading their reviews, crying, wiping their eyes with $100 bills.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh no. And yeah, as you said in the pitch meeting, DT, this film has the feature film debut of Mr. David Spade
Get
is
excited.
in this one, and also features Tony Hawk, who is David
Yeah, I was
Spade's.
shocked.
He is David Spade, specifically his stunt double in the skateboarding
So
scenes.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
That was wild. That was such a wild ending because I was like, I guess I should watch the credits. And then Tony Hawk comes skating by. It says, and Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Sharon Stone also appears. I don't know if she's in any of the other ones. I was
she is
surprised to see her. Okay.
Yeah.
She's not.
Yeah, it's a I mean, you know, she's not
Not in
really
the
she's not
sequel.
really
I don't mean after this.
she's not a big enough star to be in every Police Academy. She's not like Tackleberry.
I mean, this is Sharon Stone's wackiest movie that she's ever been in by a wide margin, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't really want to do too much of the like, you know, too much of the sexy fun with her. Like she's the love interest for Steve Guttenberg, but they still want to keep that all firmly sort of centered in the Callahan character.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Callahan's corner right there.
Yeah. If
Callahan's
somehow, I
corner.
guess, if you don't know the Police Academy series, the basic gist is there's a bunch of dorks that do a bad job in the academy in the first one, and then after that, they save the day. They go on to save the day at the end of each of these. They have all kinds of hijinks and fuck ups and screw ups, and there's the big guy in charge who is just too dunderheaded to pay attention to it, and then there's the under boss, the sort of drill sergeant type, who is always getting getting his comeuppance.
Yeah.
Each of these is basically like that, except they have to graduate the academy at the end of the first one. So then every time after that, it's like police academy, but they're
That part,
just police.
don't think too much about it. You're right. No, that does bug me a little bit. Why are they still? What is the police academy after they graduate? Why are they still there? And what's going on exactly?
Right? Yes. Yeah, they're based out of the academy. That's like their HQ somehow.
Yeah.
They come up with an incredibly elegant solution in the story of this one, which is they all have to be at the academy because they're training new cadets, the citizens on patrol.
Yeah, this elegant as fuck. But yeah, no, they all have like their little special powers, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But for the most part, every problem they just kind of wacky their way out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. True.
They're like the Looney Tunes of policing.
It's kind of I didn't want to say it, but yeah, we're still kind of Looney Tunes it up a little bit here, guys.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Mahoney obviously on his best day does not equal Bugs Bunny on his worst day, but they sure would like you to think about the Bugs Bunny energy when he's like smarmily looking at the camera over and over, bedroom eyes as he opens a super glue tube.
Oh man, he's so good. Listen. I'll just say it now. I'm ready to say it, even though we kind of just started. Still holds up. Great film.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you've planted your flag early. It's good for us to have a sense of how tense the podcast might get based on if I make some joke about Steve Guttenberg.
Go for it.
And then, I just hear like muffled crying coming through the headphones from somewhere. I can't tell who it is. Maybe it's you, maybe it's Kevin. Yeah, I think having only seen this as an adult, my opinion was something shy of holds up. It couldn't be holds up for me though, because what is it holding up from? I didn't see it as a kid.
Sure.
I think the best one is clearly Michael Winslow, the man of 1,000 noises, is it?
Look at this list of complaints. And I quote you directly, sir, when I say...
Yeah.
My mom kind of like poked her head in while I was watching, and she was like, she's like, he carries the whole franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like
content.
Yeah, he's the heart and soul of this thing. And also the one that, like, you wouldn't remember the name of his character because they don't give him an interesting name. Yeah. I never even really remember stuff he does. Like, in this one, he sort of briefly becomes like a ninja with bad overdubbed dialogue, like a, Hong Kong action movie or something, and he dispatches some ninjas with physical violence. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have told you he did that. I thought he was just making helicopter noises, and then everyone ducks.
More versatile than you remember.
Yeah, exactly. You're a big DT. You're a big rankings guy, and you're going through this greatest basketball players list. Who is the Michael Winslow of the NBA? Who's the guy who's been carrying this franchise for years? To at least, regardless of what the talking heads said, regardless of what Stephen A. says on TV, it's clear from the results that this was a successful enterprise.
I don't think it's hyperbole to say. I think he's Steph Curry. I don't think there's the all right. What he does, nobody has ever done better.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown.
You're right about that. He's because his skill here is utterly anomalous. I can't think of anyone who has even been asked to do that in a movie, let alone attempted it, let alone succeeded at it.
I guess it wouldn't be Steph Curry. It would be like, I don't know, like who's the best at like doing some random skill that doesn't come up that often. Who's
the free throw guy that tells you to shoot underhanded?
Rick Barry.
Yeah, Rick Barry. Rick Barry is a good pick as well. It would have to be something even more random that you don't even necessarily expect to happen in a basketball game. Would be
that's true. That's true.
Because
like Michael Winslow didn't change movies like everybody isn't doing sound effects after Michael Winslow started. All the kids aren't wearing Michael Winslow jerseys.
Michael Winslow ruined the movie business. Now everyone's
Yeah.
just making these sound effects all the time.
He was but it's like he was so dominant, nobody even tried to like stand on his corner at all. You know, He was like, okay, well, we've seen this for the first time, and nobody will ever be better than him at it. And so we're just not even gonna try. Who's the best guy at, like, I don't know, launching it full court with 1 second left?
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's just very specific skill that he's just elite at, and I mean, you just don't see it that often.
So you're saying he's the movie version of Snake Plissken?
There you go. I love that. Except he was also in a movie. Yes. That's a great comparison. Comparison.
That is one of the greatest scenes in cinema history.
Yeah, there was.
All right. So Police Academy 4 begins with.
Don't try to refocus us, Kevin.
Michael Winslow, Jones, Motormouth Jones, I think they call him, and Mahoney, Steve Gutenberg driving in a car. They are sort of rapping, sort of making some music.
Yeah.
Steve Gutenberg says, "Take it, brother."
Take it, brother.
And take it, he does. They are driving through. Okay, so this is something that is basically only exciting for me and maybe Chris. But there was a show in Canada in the 90s that was only on at like 1 or 3 in the morning called Night Drive or Night Driving, Night Walk.
Okay.
And no, I'm not talking about Forever Night. And it was just a car driving, and they had some local like smooth jazz like combo playing and singing music. And the car drives through downtown and points the camera at the lights. Sometimes somebody gets out of the car and they just like walk up like escalators that have lights. There's no sound, there's no meaning, there's no content. It was huge for Insomniacs and people in prison. But it was like a cult thing that you'd like watch late at night. Here's just some smooth jazz, and you get to see the city, but you don't have to go driving around drunk or high or whatever. And from that show, which I have watched a few times, I recognize these streets. So they're in Ontario because I was like, "There's that thing, the record store thing." They're doing a little bit of Night Drive here, just for me.
Wow, exciting for you! I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
But the jazz is not smooth. They are doing a little bit of rapping. You're getting some sound effects from Mr. Winslow here, but the song they are performing is the love theme from Citizens on Patrol. It is called Citizens on Patrol. It is them singing Citizens on Patrol.
Citizens on Patrol.
Citizens on Patrol. And the song is a little catchy. I like it. I think it definitely sets the tone. But what is very funny is that this is being portrayed. What's the word for this? Diegetic? Is that it?
Yeah.
It's diegetic in that they are singing this. It's not like on the soundtrack. It exists in their world.
Citizens on Patrol.
And then they drive to the academy, and like the first conversation they have, they're like, "What's going on, Commander? This is my Citizens on Patrol initiative." And they seem utterly baffled by this, even though they had just come up with a song about this concept.
Well, listen, it gets worse than that. If you watch it back, you'll notice that they're doing something else in the car. The music does not match what they're doing. It seems like they filmed a scene of them actually singing and stuff, and then they were like, "Don't like it. We're just gonna put the song on top.
Put the soundtrack on it." Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is one of many editing scenarios that are less than perfect in this movie. It's the first of many. First shot is a bit of a a bit of a situation as far as that goes. But you know what? Whatever. It does set the vibe pretty well, I gotta say.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I was like, all right, here we go. Getting
Yeah.
into it just immediately. Driving through these streets that I assumed were New York. And
They never
the
say the name of the city. I think it's just like
no,
Metro. It's like
Yeah.
yeah,
everything they just say Metro. I don't know.
yeah.
This is
It's
this
like
is
seven, where they just it stands in for every city.
Yeah, pretty much.
this is actually a question I had for you both. When you were a kid watching Police Academy stuff, where did you feel like it was, if that makes sense? Because
I
for
think I thought
me,
it was Los Angeles.
I always thought it
Mm.
was Florida. I thought this was weird Florida shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. No, I had no thought of where it would be, but if I see the city, I assume it's New York.
Yeah.
Period.
The Big Apple, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Big Apple, 3 a.m.
They show up at the academy. Their windshield breaks. They drive the car off into a median, and it flies up in the air. The level of just anytime you can there's a. It's not exactly a breakneck movie, and yet the gags are pretty breakneck. Where it's just like, okay, there's been a lull for about, I don't know, 90 to 120 seconds. Let's crash a car real quick. Just get everybody back on side.
Yeah.
This is my first time on the podcast and my first time making notes while watching something.
Mm.
My first note is movie does not waste time, gets right into the meat.
True.
That's true.
Kind of
The Citizens on Patrol initiative is rolled out within 30 seconds of the Citizen on Patrol theme ending.
Yeah, we don't get them. You kind of would want like the beginning of a James Bond movie where it's like, here's what they're doing most of the time, and here's Jones and Mahoney just doing great out there, Ice Cream Jones. But they're not. They're just driving around in circles, not fighting crime, and then it's like, all right, time to get back to base, the academy.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who cares? Doesn't matter. Let's get right into it. Here we go.
Yeah. So they get hit by a golf ball, as it turns out, because their boss of bosses, the commandant, is a bad golfer that's golfing in the office.
Yeah, he's got a little putt strip in there, but he's just letting it rip, and he's launching the ball right out the window, ricocheting around in the office.
Nothing new to the gang. They've seen this before. They're used to it. They know the moves. They're gonna duck when it's time to duck. It's pretty great.
Yeah, one of them gets his teeth knocked in by this ball, or it shoots in his mouth, and he briefly chokes before spitting it out.
Yeah.
Hi, what a miss!
Yeah, so the Bobcat being Bobcat.
Yeah.
The commandant really does not do a lot acting wise. He just has a really good voice, and so it just like carries. He's like 90% voice.
It's a great call. His voice is amazing.
And when I saw him, I was like, oh, is that the guy who at the end of the first one is getting the blowjob behind the podium? And then later he makes a joke where he's like, so I asked her, do you always work from behind a podium? And I was like, yes, I was right. They brought it back.
That's just what a big win for Chris.
Yeah, no, that was electric. I was pumping my fist. All the pent up energy I didn't get to release during the Warriors Wolves game 5 came spilling out because I realized I was right about something. I finally got a win.
So the commandant is like, I have a new plan. Isn't it bad how all citizens, we can't be everywhere at once? What's the worst thing about being a cop? And all their answers are nonsensical. Steve Gutenberg says these ugly blue uniforms. It's like, okay, all right, Steve. And he's like, I thought it was that we can't be everywhere at once, so then we can't fight all the crime, so then the citizens think of us as the enemy. It's like, does that A to B to C, does that all make sense?
No.
So I think the citizens should be fighting crime, so we can train the citizens so that they're fighting crime. And basically everybody throughout the movie is like, this is a terrible idea. Why is this different than like vigilantism? And there's never an answer for it. It just is. But the fact of everyone asking the question, like the press asking the question, is like, as you see, the haters and naysayers are going to tell you that the citizens should not be fighting crime. But they would also tell you that the police academy, Looney Tunes shouldn't be fighting crime either.
Yeah.
And they're wrong on both counts.
Should you be listening to the media? The media told you the Police Academy movies stunk, but you keep coming back, right?
Thumbs down on Police Academy, one of the most inept and idiotic comedies in a long time.
The death of authority.
No, it doesn't make sense at all. The dialogue is borderline worth listening to, I would say, during this part. But yeah, they set it up and they get right into it, baby.
They do. There's a surprising number of scenes where they discuss it, though. Like, they do get into it, and it does, like, we're getting hijinks quick. And obviously, like, even this scene that is just exposition, it's like we're just gonna hit golf balls at everybody in case you're losing focus. Bobcat Goldthwait plays Zed. He's like a butt rock guy, and can't control his voice. I thought as a kid that he just had a condition that meant he couldn't do that. I think my brother told me that was true because he made it up and thought it was true, and so then told me as though it were true. It does seem true, and then you hear him just speaking, and you're like, oh, what?
I'm with you, Kevin. I'm gonna admit that as well. I did not know. I honestly did not know. That's how good he was.
He's very consistent.
Yeah. No, it's I did not like this when I was a kid. My dad really liked Bobcat Goldthwait. He was into the whole thing. I bet probably because he knew this was an act he was putting on, and I did not as a kid. But like, I found him annoying and a little menacing, and I didn't enjoy watching him. And then now, as an adult, I watch it, and I'm like, well, it is a very impressive commitment to a bit over a very long period of time, which is almost exactly how I felt about Martin Short's whole Jiminy Glick thing back in the day. I was like, this is so irritating. Why do people like this? And I watch it now, and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is perfect.
I was in on Jiminy Glick from the get-go. Bobcat Gold, I agree. I'm kind of like lockstep with you on that one. It was like, a lot. But man, looking back, it is impressive. Honestly.
Yeah. Apparently he still does the voice. I heard him on WTF, 20 years ago, saying that he still will do the voice, like, in places where he doesn't think that he thinks they're showing up because they remember the Police Academy movies and like him. Yeah. So he's just like, oh, let's do the Grover voice, I guess. So everybody is basically down for this. We now get introduced to some local skateboarders. One of them is like related to somebody, the brown-haired guy. I don't know. There's some like connection to somebody.
Really?
On the force, I feel like, because they're like, oh, we're just buying a present for Captain So-and-so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was just that they knew the name. They would run afoul of the cops so many times. They knew their names.
You could be right. The brown-haired guy he's got one of those faces that's like an old guy face, even though he doesn't seem that old.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's supposed to be a kid for him.
Yeah,
I've certainly seen him in other things.
Yes, yeah. And then David Spade, it's his film debut. I really don't think he should have gotten any older than this. This is like the right age for David Spade's whole bit.
I had to help my father clean the cellar, and I have to do the dishes tonight. What are you doing?
I'm gonna get the guys and hang out at the mall.
Let's go.
Where he's just like, no, I don't think so. Like, once you're like 40 and doing that, it's like, knocking off. But when you're a snot-nosed punk teen skateboarding. Now this is skateboarding, someone says, as though they are Anakin Skywalker.
Thought I told you guys no skateboarding in my district.
This isn't skateboarding, Sergeant. This is carrying skateboard. This is skateboarding.
Those skateboarding is not a crime stickers were legit because everybody just was like, oh, these kids on these boards with wheels on the bottom, they're terrorizing everybody.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. I gotta say, I was actually pretty excited to like see what David Spade brought to the party in this, just because it's kind of like what you said, Kevin. It's like, wow, young kid. What about young David Spade? But the younger the better with this guy, because that was his whole like deal, right? Is that he's just like the little smart aleck guy.
Yeah, so it's better when he's little and has no perception of power.
He did he stretched his punk teen prime a long way though, because I think he could still convincingly carry that off well into the mid 90s when he was surely like 35 or must have been.
Yeah. But so they're skateboarding, they go skateboarding through the mall to get away from the cops that are chasing them. All the skateboarding stuff is shot really well. I was surprised at how like the commitment to skateboarding is cool. A lot of slow-mo, just like it was shot like a cool skateboarding video from like the mid 90s or something.
I'm going to guess that when I rented this in late 87, early 88, whenever I saw this, probably the first time I saw Police Academy, I'm going to guess that I rewound the skateboarding part as soon as I saw it and watched it again 2 or 3 times. I mean, and actually, it kind of held up a little bit. It was pretty rad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Tony Hawk, as we learned. But also just the way it's shot. You could have Tony Hawk and have it look like ass, but
this was exciting. This was exciting for kids in 1987 to see this little scene right here, which is, looking back, a little corny, the music and everything. It's like, all right, like this is where you start to see why kids like this movie. Adults were mixed with reviews.
Yeah, they get away. There's a lot of, oh, well, why didn't you, whatever, did you catch them? Or, who started this riot? Like, oh, they got away, sir.
The cop is just such a jerk.
This is an essential and crucial performance by him, though. He is like coming in at a 10 on this thing the whole movie, and he needs to. A lot is asked of him to maintain this level of being a prick who you want to see get torn down, and he succeeds in that. He's got like his little like baton or stick that he's always got tucked under his arm.
Move it, move it, move it,
sir. We were just commenting on how you'd mellowed.
Yeah, and everybody's just up to shit all the time. And if you didn't have this guy for the snob to their slob, it would just be just exhausting. And like, who am I even rooting for? You'd kind of want them to fail more, and instead it's like, well, no, this crusty dean. I wrote down how cool malls used to be. This mall has like a carousel in it.
Sick.
So then they finally get away into the pitch meeting for the community for the COP program.
Don't think about that too much.
Yeah. And then don't think about the fact that there's like a convenient skateboard ramp on the stage for them to come sliding down that's shaped, painted like a street.
Why?
Mahoney comes up and is like, "Oh, thank you all so much," and Michael Winslow is just doing like stuff. I also periodically was like, is Michael Winslow could he be making those sounds right now, or is this all ADR and it's just he has a very very pronounced mouth when he's like doing this kind of stuff. I feel like certainly I bet he could do a version of it, but I think they juiced it.
Yeah, they're gonna plus it up inevitably. This is, I think, the only one of these in this movie where when he's doing it, it doesn't really scan because it's too like not in sync with the reality. No one is cheering or excited for this talk, and he's giving like a sort of a tepid like like that hum of the crowd sound, and and he is shot down for it. Steve Guttenberg's like, what do you? He like tells him to stop.
Very much. Please, thank you. Oh, you're too kind. You're just Jones.
Which is an indication that not even the talents of Mr. Winslow can sell this as a winner for Steve Guttenberg.
I'm leaving no note left behind during this. So I just want to point out one of the notes here that we glossed over a little bit. When Captain Harris says dickhead, that's a great usage of dickhead. Okay. All right. They're not all winners, but that was one of my notes.
He says dickhead there. He says pissant multiple times. He's a big fan of pissant.
These are great. These are great. He's got a whole arsenal and he uses them well.
Yeah. He's like the He's sort of like a not fun disciplinarian Captain Haddock with his litany of insults.
That's they start the program. They begin training the locals, and the captain comes around and is harassed by Hightower's dog. The dog seems to be just like first sniffing his crotch and then maybe chewing on it.
I think you're jumping ahead just a little.
Am I jumping too far ahead?
Yeah, that's a different part.
Yeah, we do have the recruitment of Mrs. Feldman, the old woman.
Yeah, no, you weren't that far ahead, Kevin. But yeah, we should talk about. We did get introduced to Mrs. Feldman, a crucial character in this. Tackleberry enamored with Miss Feldman, and how could he not be?
Perhaps you'd like to discuss the program first, ma'am.
What's to discuss? Think I want to hang out here and listen to arteries hardening? Now, where'd I put that bulletproof vest?
Tackleberry is the one that's like the gun nut of the police academy group, and Mrs. Feldman is cut from the same cloth, but she's an old lady, not even so old, but sold as an old lady,
right?
And when they start recruiting people, they're like, "Are we gonna get to use guns?" And they're like, "No." And then like the next scene, they're like, "Oh, here's your gun. It's your job to make sure it's not loaded."
Okay, feel free to fire this massive gun.
All right, now you guys, I know I'm starting to get a sense of what your official take on how good this movie was. But admit it, you found Miss Feldman charming.
I thought she was fine. I wanted to like her more. I thought she was all right.
I think that her premise, I predicted her premise too easily. I think I sort of, I
was a little bit ahead of this movie. I don't want to sound like a know-it-all.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I liked, I think she's the best of the citizens on patrol.
For sure.
Of the patrolling citizens, I liked her the best. I certainly liked her more than the fat guy they get, and the what are the other one? Oh, I guess David Spade.
David
Spade is one of them. He doesn't have as much to do as he should. They should have recognized that he's one of the actual comedic talents and utilized him more. He kind of just vanishes from the movie at a certain point.
Well, speaking of vanishing from the movie, there is this is editing debacle part 2. When they're in the trial for the boys and Mahoney saves them, we're introduced kind of to the lawyer.
Excuse me. I like the sound of this community relations gig. Milt Butterworth, defender of the common man.
Your Honor.
Oh, yeah.
And he joins the citizens on patrol inexplicably. I'm guessing we missed a scene or 3.
I didn't even catch that.
The defender that the other guy Artie goes after when they get when the guilty verdict comes in. He goes after him, and then he kind of comes up and he's sort of like inquiring to Mahoney about the program. He's not. That's all he does.
Yeah,
but yet we see him and he's in the mix with the citizens on patrol. It's like he's like, I must be terrible as a defense lawyer, so I better do this instead.
Yeah. So this is a lawyer who David Spade's buddy hires. He's defending them from charges of general hooliganism, skateboarding hooliganism, evading arrest. That culminated in them crashing into the cops on patrol meeting. And when he finds out that he has failed in his charge and they have been found guilty, the compromise that is sold to the judge is, well, let's let them join citizens on patrol, and that'll be like community service. It's like, it's not exactly community service. This is like a recruitment program you're launching for the public that people are eager to join.
Right.
Seemingly very eager. Yeah. But then the lawyer is like, oh, can I also join this thing that you've just issued to my clients as their punishment?
But he does not say that. He It's
Yeah.
sort of, you can tell he's
It just
interested.
He's stroking his chin.
I forgot that there's the scene where Tackleberry goes to his girlfriend's house and they're just like mental, all of her family.
Right.
His his her dad is like, I should do the Citizens on Patrol, and his son is also a cop. He's like, well, it seems like, like nepotism if you're in there too, because it's me and my sister. And then he punches him in the face and it's like, yeah, but I'm fast.
You just don't think I'm fast enough anymore, do you?
And that I got a genuine laugh out of that. That was like, I had no idea. You thought it was just gonna be like some uncomfortable, like, oh, they're snobby or they're like reserved. It's just like just a punch in the face out of the blue. I was like,
great.
All right. Then it kept going. The fight continued, and it was less funny, but just like, proof that I should be a citizen cop is that I can punch you before you can stop me.
The Tackleberry's wife, who had about 3 lines, is Colleen Camp, who was the vet
from
in Clue.
Yeah,
a little bit underutilized, you would have to say, but that's a bit of a theme here.
Yeah, yes. I bet they shot a lot of everybody.
Yes.
And then they're like, we will not worry about glue between these scenes. We are just about which scenes get the most,
100%.
which scenes have the most going on. And I'm sorry, Colleen, and I'm sorry, David Spade. Apparently,
I think
guy.
I think it was a carpet bomb strat for filming this. They just kept the camera rolling. They were flying. They were shooting ideas off the hip. There was not a lot of prep to the actors about what was going on in the plot of the movie.
Yeah,
let's just go slap it together.
I wrote down though that say what you will about these movies. They have a tone that is the Police Academy tone, and it is not another comedy thing. There's like National Lampoon influence and stuff, but it's really that they are, especially by this fourth one, I guess, that they are like, we know what the Police Academy thing is. It doesn't exist elsewhere, and we just hit that immediately and stay like, it's so impressive, like impressively on message.
I think that's a great take, and I think that it is impressive, and it's part of the charm of the movie, part of the charm of the film here.
Yeah, it never feels like something else. There is nothing that feels like a Police Academy movie, and their Police Academy movies do not feel like another movie. But it's so it's self-consistent. Yeah. Okay. So the dog's messing with his balls.
Yeah, we can talk about that now. Sorry, I'm glad that we did backtrack. I think I'm doing a good job of steering this here.
You're doing great. Sharon Stone is a reporter? Question mark.
Yeah, she's a reporter for her car has like a sticker that they got from may as well be Sharpie written on a printer paper size sticker they've slapped on there that says like Metro Press on it.
Yeah.
It's like this isn't a war zone. Your car doesn't need to identify you as a member of the press.
Just an absolutely delightfully small amount of information about who she is at all. Who cares?
When she steps out of the car and you see Steve Guttenberg's clock her and start talking to her, it's almost like you as the viewer are supposed to know, oh, this is the foxy lady Steve wants. And that's all I need to know about this. And there's nothing else going on here. We're not going to spend a second with the rest of it, except that she is going to get Hightower's dog because she's a dog lover. That's how you know she's got a good heart, even though she's part of the sensationalist news media.
Yeah,
it was so baffling that she, who had just appeared, when the captain is like, "Get this dog out of here," and Hightower's like, "I'm not getting rid of my dog." She's like, "I'll take him." It's like, I thought he just meant like, get him out of here. I don't think he meant like, put him down right now.
Yeah,
bullet in the brain. I know this is the cop way, but I still don't think that's what's going on here. And she's just like,
"I'll take him. I have a big house, nice yard. See, he likes me.
I'll take him." And okay, great. But again, that doesn't.
The movie is going a mile a minute here at this juncture. There is just so many questions that do not need answering. And keep it rolling, baby. And I think it's time to start talking about Proctor.
Oh yeah, okay.
We have to talk about Proctor.
We do.
Proctor holds up better than I was expecting.
I
He
always
absolutely
thought he
slays
was
me.
just such a tool, and I was so unhappy with him. And watching it now, it's like he again is like such a necessary piece of this whole thing. And again, like totally committed to the bit. He's the like toady to Captain Harris, and just a complete dimwit. Captain Harris he comes in to say, "Oh, the commissioner is here. Do you want to see him?" And he's like, "No, send him away." He's like, "Okay."
Captain Harris, Police Commissioner Hurst is here. You want to see him?
No. Send him packing.
Yes, sir.
Proctor!
Yes, sir.
Send the commissioner in immediately.
I thought you said to send him packing.
Immediately!
Yes, sir.
He's like, no, send him in. He's like, I thought you told him to step off. And it's like that level of, yes, we know that you're dumb and you shouldn't you shouldn't be in charge of anything. And yet he just is like committed to it. I don't think it's overdone somehow,
No, it's
even
great.
though
He
absolutely great, but it's not overdone.
David Spade's character blows a big bubble, and he's like right next to him, watching him blow this huge bubble. He's like, "It is bubble gum, sir. Cherry."
Hope that wasn't gum.
You heard the captain. Is it? It's definitely gum, sir. Bubble gum. Cherry, I think.
Really surprising how well David Spade carries his whole thing off just by blowing an obnoxiously large bubblegum bubble.
Yeah, and again, it's like I guess they are in trouble, but then periodically, like House, the big guy, is like with them, and they're like, "Hey, you guys got to get in line." It's like, well, but he's not on trial, right? He just was there because he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And so if you tell him that he's doing a bad job, you could just tell him that he's like, get out of here, like you're fired as a citizen on patrol, whatever it means.
He got lumped in.
Yeah.
Skateboarders.
Yes.
Seemed like he was pretty comfortable with them though.
Sure. So there's like some swimming pool hijinks, the first round of swimming pool hijinks here.
Yeah, well, this is the movie's first foray into trying to get the audience horned up for Lieutenant Callahan. Earlier when they go to recruit Miss Feldman, there's a joke about how all these old men in wheelchairs are going to start groping her. Tackleberry's like, watch your back, Callahan, and then she turns around confused, and there's just like three old men in wheelchairs slowly wheeling towards her from behind in this hallway.
And then she runs away. It's always just like she's being chased. We don't know to what end. She will get away. That is the joke. She is too hot to be around normal people.
Yeah, it's a little. I think it's a little weird that the resolution is her like running away, or in this case, she's teaching how to rescue someone who's drowning. She's like, only use this style of stroke so your arms aren't out, so they don't drag you down. And then she's like, well, now let's test it out. Who's going to rescue me? And she jumps in the water, and she's wearing a white t-shirt, and now it's very wet, and you can basically see everything. And the whole academy dives into the pool after all the men, at any rate, because presumably they don't let queer women into the academy. I don't think Harris would be into that. So they all dive in, and then she just takes off out swimming as fast as she can towards the camera the other direction. It's not that big a pool. It doesn't look like a pool you'd have at a police academy. It looks like the pool of a kind of nice house in Los Angeles.
Right.
But
she swims away, and what happens? Who cares? On to the next hijinks, pretty much.
Yeah. We don't need a resolution to this. You get the gist. It's just kind of a joke. That's like basically it. They dive into the pool. Nothing else needs to happen. We could cut away, but we get one more shot.
Yeah.
So then we haven't talked about Laura yet. That she's the girl COP.
Bobcat's girl
recruit.
Yeah,
she's got a camera for reasons that are unclear. And
to the point that I was like, wait, was I wrong that Sharon Stone is the like press lady? This lady taking pictures, and there's so little context for any of it that it's like camera equals reporter, period. You can't give me another camera lady.
It's unclear. It's unclear why she has that, but she snapped a couple photos, and she's kind of taking a liking to Zed a little bit. But another one, just a stupid scene, but guy, it cracks me up so hard when he notices his watch isn't working because he dived in the pool, and he goes, Mickey!
Oh, I think I better be going.
Mickey! He's dead! He killed him!
Yeah. Oh, I wrote that down. I this was another laugh out loud line for me. It was just him yelling Mickey. I have no pride on this subject.
It's still good. It's still good. He's funny. He's funny. Bobcat. I mean, I don't think it's a outrageous take the Bobcat goal weight. It's funny, but when he yells Mickey there, I'm dead.
No, it's very good. I felt his pain as someone who has a lot of old trinkets I picked up at Disneyland when I was a kid. It's like, I'm not even that into Mickey Mouse, but this is one of the oldest things I have. You get sentimental value, but also he's playing very well on the edge of his mania here. In a way that makes it that much, I think, compellingly bewildering that this woman is instantly like, no, I am all about you.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's more believable in a weird way than I think this sort of thing typically is, because you're like, no, he does have something. And if you don't view him as a physical threat, then you might be very into it.
No, I said jerk. I think it was pretty clear. I said jerk.
I like Laura.
Yeah,
she's just a great character. I think she's maybe not a great character.
About her.
She's cute. How about that? She's cute, and she's got heart. It's kind of like Miss Feldman. You know, I feel like there's these characters do add a lot.
I felt like I did think I knew her from something else, but I think it's just that her hair is kind of similar to the lady from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I think you asked for what are the good things about her. When I see her be so instantly and warmly accepting of Bobcat with all his peculiarities and irregularities, and some would call them flaws, I can't help but think maybe someday there'll be someone out there for me.
Exactly.
You got to put yourself out there the way Bobcat does.
I don't think I need to do it exactly like he does. I'm not going to join the police. That's the thing. If I were to join the police, I would have a lot more just encounters with people, but it wouldn't always be the emotional tenor I wanted it to be.
That's true. That's true. So Harris is being a pain to everybody. He thinks this Citizens on Patrol idea is a bad idea for some reason.
It's a classic idea of the villain. Clearly, you know that he's wrong because of how he's portrayed, but he never says anything that isn't squarely within the bounds of like, yeah, this is a pretty weird idea, pretty slipshod.
Yeah, but he just doesn't like Captain Lazard and Mahoney, and he just resents those guys.
Yeah,
that's true.
Cool,
but
he's not.
Yeah, is Lazard cool?
Lazard is not cool. Lazard is a dingus.
He has gone. This is the commandant, the golf guy. He has gone to some international police summit to pitch his idea to everybody. So he's not there. So that's why Harris is back and he's in charge.
Another one makes so much sense that would happen that way.
Yeah, this is logic. Are most of the cops the international crew? Does it seem like most of them are maybe Japanese? Well, it's the 80s. Who's funnier than just being Japanese? So anyway, so he's off.
I was relieved that the Japanese guy from the previous police academies was in the movie. I thought he wasn't going to be, and then he was there. I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah,
what a character.
So I assume he initiates a fling with Callahan in the third one, presumably, and then they bring him back for this one.
Yeah, that's Officer
really only
Elvis Nagata. I don't know why. I don't remember the details of why he got the moniker Elvis, but yeah. Nagata. Good to have him back. Was happy to see him.
There was much amusement in the 80s that Elvis was big in Japan. And it's like, Elvis is big
everywhere.
Generally.
Yeah.
Why is that funnier to you? But it's like, but they don't speak English normally. Right. They have accents over there. Yeah. So Harris is being a pain, he is in the shower, and they swap out his deodorant with a can of mace, which then causes smoke to pour out of his armpits. And then in the next scene, he's in like some sort of contraption where his arms are all up. And he's like, anyone that doesn't keep track of their mace, can is going to be fined and in trouble, because he doesn't think it was a prank, which is astonishing. He thinks it's just an accident. And then like
my note here. Sorry, my note here is these visual gags are solid.
It's fine. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's like, this is exactly the tone that a Police Academy visual gag would have for this moment. And I admire that they're like, here's this, he's in this contraption and he's all fucked up, and then the next scene it's like, all right, we're all done with that. Later on, he gets his lips glued to a megaphone, and then they're like, yada yada, we're not going to deal with that. We're not just going to like add stuff to him throughout the movie. It's not going to be like Clouseau's boss that just is like periodically more injured throughout it. It's like, no, that was for one moment, and now we're done.
Yeah.
Because if we had to keep that continuity, then we'd have to keep all these scenes that we clearly cut out that we knew were no good once we finished them. So best to just, like in Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell said that various scenes you see him just wipe his face because they're just like, I don't know, we don't know like how much blood should still be on you at this point, so I'll just get you to wipe your face and then we move on, and we can put these scenes in whatever order makes sense later. Bobcat is telling everybody the correct way to eat a donut.
Love that.
Again, every one of these scenes feels like, maybe written that day. Like no one no like arc to this. Exactly. And the whole program is kind of like that, where it's like, what if like everybody were a cop? Anyway, you guys figure that out. What if we made a movie where that was the premise? You guys figure that out.
Yep, pretty much.
Yep. There's a basketball scene.
Oh my.
Yeah.
There's a couple of basketball scenes, because the little guy, what's his name? Sweet Chuck. He ends up in a hoop twice in this movie, which is a lot.
Yeah. He gets folded up and dunked. Watching this scene, watching Steve Guttenberg, basketball's my favorite sport. I like to watch him dribble up and down the court. Watching Steve Guttenberg dribble up and down the court, all I could think of is, if only we'd had him instead of Pajemski. Look at him create his own shot out there. He goes between the legs with the layup. He has no lack of confidence.
Those guys are just swag. Those guys are traffic cones out there.
No, yeah,
Gutenberg would not survive against our current NBA defense.
Gone wild as ball's brought in. Here we go. Have the play going. Throws to Zed. A little bit of a fear there.
Even on a movie scale, this is some of the worst defense that's ever been that anybody's ever seen. Gutenberg just ambles through the paint. And by the way, he's driving right, puts it up left. I mean, anybody's paying attention at all. Projected. Get that shit out of here.
He's you've heard of a driving layup? What if we had a sauntering layup?
It was indeed. It was. But he's the floor general. He after Zed kind of struggles to get something going offensively, he locates Hightower, which is not hard to do, I don't think.
Yeah.
And Hightower puts down a thundering jam against three opponents. All of a sudden they're locked in. They're after being embarrassed by Mahoney, they're just locked in. They got three guys draped all over him, trying to reject. Like, why are they even messing with this guy? He teaches them a lesson quick.
They're trying to put him in the torture chamber. Had one guy go and deal with Gutenberg. Instead, they're just like, Hightower's the only problem. We're going to triple team him and forget everybody else.
Yeah.
He puts the rock in the ground such that it cannot be retrieved.
Dunks it so hard it slams into the concrete. Yeah.
My 6-year-old Gus was not buying that. You didn't think it was possible that a ball
No.
could just dislodge into the concrete like that.
This is we mentioned the basketball scene in Escape from LA earlier. I would say that's a better basketball scene than this one. And then we obviously just watched Space Jam. Which of the Hightower is the one you would add to the Space Jam team? Would LeBron want Hightower on his team? Given that they both are not great shooters, presumably both sort of occupy the dunker's spot.
It's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, LeBron doesn't seem awesome at picking teammates. But yeah, these guys do display some skill. I think they all add a little. I don't think Zed is worth getting involved with, but certainly Mahoney has some skill, and Hightower is a pretty large presence in the paint.
At least LeBron will have the satisfaction of knowing he'll show up to camp in better shape than Luka Doncic. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So yes.
What about Michael Winslow? I think Michael Winslow is the pick for the Toon squad.
Yeah, because does he hoop here? Does he have any good moves? You see,
he's calling the game. He's doing.
That's
what Michael Winslow's doing.
Guy. Enjoyed that. Not one of his more like hard to pull off sound effects, but very solid.
Yeah,
but it was very solid. So then Proctor comes. He picks up the megaphone and he like turns it on, and Michael Winslow makes some feedback sounds. Kind of stuff.
So good.
That I was like, that was pretty good.
There's no way that happened live there on the set. He must have added that later, but that was sort of unreal. Those sound effects were unreal.
Yeah.
Did he really make those sounds with his voice? Anyway, he's amazing.
The next thing I have written down is when they're doing the oxygen, like giving somebody that needs oxygen their oxygen mask. And for no reason that is thinkable, Harris's display of that is to put the oxygen mask on himself. I don't know what that teaches you. This is how to breathe oxygen if you're fine. But it's in order that the little lady who we haven't discussed who's got a high voice.
My note is finally Hooks. Like Hooks has been absent from this thing. This is going to be a theme, just so you know, going forward. Hooks is a great character. She's got the little voice. And then she all of a sudden gets really, she starts bossing people around, and they take notice because, oh my God, look at this second gear she's got. But which is, I think,
does she even go into it in this movie?
No, she
never goes into it. The whole movie, disaster. Very disappointing. That's my biggest negative for this movie. Underutilization of Hooks.
So but she's being mocked for her small voice by Harris, and so then when she accidentally falls under the table to where Laura is waiting with a second tank of helium, because of reasons. There was a balloon scene earlier where the cops are putting their hats on balloons, but so she swaps out the tanks. So then Harris, when he does it, then he has a high voice, and now you see.
Now that is the way it's done in Captain Harris's precinct. What the hell?
Laura's so great; she just fits right in. Big fan.
I like how at every signpost of our conversation, you're there to subtly redirect us back to the fundamental greatness of this movie.
I think it's important. It's important. It's important. You're welcome. Also, one other note that I don't want to leave. No notes left behind. I don't know what this is. I don't remember when this happened, but at one point Harris said, "Peckerhead." Another great one.
What are you looking at, you peckerhead?
Don't hear that one enough nowadays.
Yeah, you don't hear that too often.
That's when he's in the gay bar. There is no setup and no payoff, and basically no even punchline. But suddenly we're in an alley, and it's Harris and Proctor. They're in uniform, and Harris says, "We're in an alley. Yeah. This is the place we're going for dinner." Proctor's like, "Mahoney assured me this was the best salad bar."
Yes, sir. He says this restaurant has the best salad bar in town.
Well, it damn sure better have.
He's like, "Mahoney."
I guarantee you they shot the setup for that.
I guess it's not necessary.
They cut that fat on the
it's a
for the
one-line
final
fix
cut.
for sure. Yeah, and in they go into this like very sketchy door, and then it's a gay like biker bar and leather club, and that's basically it. He's like, I'm getting out of here, and then some guy starts dancing with him. It's really just like, I don't know. I guess they could just leave. But writing this out, they're like, well, they can't just leave. But then what happens?
Yeah,
It's
they,
like,
they
I don't
grab
know.
him, they get tangoed up.
Yeah.
This is a running bit in the police academies. One of the ones that maybe doesn't quite hold up as well as some of the others. But
Yeah, no.
you know,
I was looking into this before we started recording, and I think it's Proctor on his character's Wikipedia page. It emphasizes he is frequently tricked into entering the Blue Oyster Gay Bar. So it's this specific bar that is a running bit.
Right.
That's pretty good. I do kind of like that. Then you got to tip your caps. That it's
no,
like,
it is.
He's back in the same exact bar.
It's great that it keeps happening inexplicably, but yeah.
Yeah. It also, to be quite honest with you, Mahoney assured me this is the best salad bar. You're going to a restaurant on recommendation on the strength of its salad bar. Like, if I'm going out for someplace because I heard it has got a great salad, this is a salad they're making for me back in the kitchen. I'm not getting it from the bar, right?
You don't remember the Sizzler era.
I do remember the Sizzler era. I got food poisoning eating at a Sizzler as a child. I told my mom, this hamburger, the meat doesn't look right. And she was like, no, it's fine. It's just because we were sitting under this green awning that had lights above it. She was like, what you're perceiving as the meat being an off color is just the light. And then I ate it and I threw up. I got sick. So, yeah. I do remember Sizzler is the point of this frenzied digression.
If my parents wanted to dangle a reward out for me in the late 80s, that Sizzler was a high chance that was going to be the carrot at the end of that stick or whatever the phrase is. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels very grown up.
Sizzler was a big deal. Salad bar. The notion of a great salad bar, I think, was a very good joke in 1987, based on my recollection of the vibe back then.
Yeah. You can get so much food for so cheap. And what food? I also remember just the feeling of being like, well, so there's an ice cream dispenser, soft serve dispenser. I can just keep coming back to this forever.
Unreal.
My mom being like, well, it can't come back forever. Like, but she wasn't policing it. I just kept like, one more time, get some chocolate chips on top of the swirl.
It's sort of amazing.
This is a slight digression, but how do you both feel about, you go to these froyo places now, they got yogurt chips. You like the yogurt chips?
I do like the yogurt chips.
Huh.
Okay.
I don't have a take on that. I'm
All right.
abstaining from that one.
Well, maybe the next time you come on, you'll have had yogurt chips since then. Maybe you'll come prepared to talk about the issues I'm here to talk about.
That was not on me on the homework. You guys just said watch Police Academy 4. That was it.
Are you opposed to it for reasons of like chicken and eggs, like the mother and child reunion? Like, you just don't think that the two forms of the same thing should be interacting on the plate?
It's a little, it feels like you're sort of cannibalizing your concept a little bit, putting yogurt chips on some frozen yogurt. Yeah.
That is weird.
It's like if I poured mashed tots into my baked potato.
Yeah. Sounds great. So now
It does, actually.
David Spade and co. are getting a little big for their britches. That's the next thing I have written down. There could have been 20 scenes in between these of similar.
Hey, you're doing good.
Type. All right,
you're doing good.
And
you're doing well.
Dave. So they're like, oh, we could do this. We could just be vigilantes, as if that's something different than what they're being trained to do. And so Michael Winslow hears this and does some Dracula stuff. Maybe not my favorite of his abilities. And is like, whatever, you think you're ready, but you're not. You think you're brown, but you're still green. And then they're like, okay, well, what we're gonna do is like play a prank on these kids who think they're ready to go. It's like, the kids, if they're not ready to go, that's your training. Don't give them shit for this. Do you want them to like wash out? Anyway, so they roust them in the middle of the night get them to come into the police van, the paddy wagon. They stick them in the back, and they're like, "We're gonna go apprehend some known felons." They're like, "Whoa, get me out of here!" And David Spade says, "What about guns and shit?" Like, they're like, "Oh no, we don't think they're armed." So then the two actual police go up to a fire escape thing. Michael Winslow makes some sounds like someone has been shot and screaming. And then I guess it's Hightower in disguise as like a Rastafarian comes out carrying the body of his brother, according to them, that they
His
shot
brother.
and killed.
He's just gonna sit there with his brother. What?
Yeah.
So you keep an eye on him. He carries his brother into there. And they're like, don't get freaked out by like his voodoo stuff. So then you see where this is going. Maybe. And they're like, okay, we're gonna go get some burgers and fries. You guys stay here with him. And he does more voodoo stuff that breaks him out of the cuffs, and then does more. And his brother starts to move under the tarp or whatever. And then comes out with a chainsaw. That was
Chainsaw's the way out of the body bag.
Yep. He comes out with a chainsaw, and he is wearing a bright red Jason Voorhees style hockey mask, which is sort of a tip of the cap, because the Friday the 13th and Police Academy were really dueling back and forth here in these years to see who could maintain the quality longer.
Yeah.
And still make a tidy profit.
Yeah. They were like, we can crank these motherfuckers out too.
It's no big deal. The David Spade and co are like, again, scrambling out of the van at this point. None of them is like, well, but this is clearly Tack under here. Tackleberry is the one. I think he's not his brother, right? Like, in that moment, even as confused and upset as you might be, you'd still be like, but this is a white man.
Did he mask on?
Oh, so you think step brothers aren't real? Okay.
He was all in sorts the body bag with a chainsaw. They left the chainsaw in the body bag.
It's voodoo magic.
Oh, okay.
Voodoo. Yeah, it's voodoo. Sometimes chainsaws come out of the deal on those voodoos.
I once was leaving a well-known tiki bar, and the servers had gotten clearly sauced while I'd been in the tiki bar. Went to the bathroom, came back out, and this like 20-something-year-old girl was playing harmonica in the hall, just like slumped against the wall, and it felt genuinely like she couldn't have brought it. You know what I mean? It just appeared because she was drunk enough in a certain type of way that just the harmonica materialized.
Those things do happen,
I guess, like that
in the world.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so I think that's why they're what they didn't question, because they were stuff like that does happen.
This happens certainly in the Police Academy world. So at this point, I wrote down 40 minutes to go because I didn't feel
only
like
40 minutes. You mean you put only 40 minutes to go?
No, I thought we've sort of ceased rocketing towards the conclusion, because I thought this was like, okay, this is the last thing before they go on their real mission. But it seems like there's some more stuff. Yeah, there's the super glue to the megaphone scene.
Yeah,
with his bedroom eyes.
Yeah. Mahoney. Mahoney wants to get one over on Harris, so he puts super glue on the mouthpiece of his megaphone. What this means is that he is pressing his lips against the megaphone. That is not how you use a megaphone. That is gross. Yeah. That is gross to be placing your mouth on the instrument.
Yeah, he's using it in a weird way because he's a dork.
Yeah, because he's aggro. Yes. But yes, he gets his lips stuck to the megaphone and then has to have them removed in a painful medical procedure.
Yeah, this is another swimming pool scene where they're like, he's like, what's going on out there? And Proctor's like, oh, well, sir, they're throwing a party. Party, no parties. Like, it's just like, how about a scene where they're throwing a party? They shouldn't have parties. The same people fall into the swimming pool again.
They're brainstorming. What might Harris not like? He doesn't like partying, man.
Fun.
Hey, what can we use? You know what? I've been looking for a spot to use that pool again. That pool is sweet. Let's use that.
What if we don't use that first pool scene? Then we'll need this backup pool scene. Or this one went so well, they're like, let's add an earlier pool
exactly.
scene.
Pools. Focus groups like the pool.
Zed falls into jumps into the water for fun this time, but in full uniform.
Yeah.
He's called a disgrace.
Yeah.
But he is comforted by Laura, who's like, "You're not a disgrace." And like, the moose. Then they have like their scene in the park where they're like running at each other. John Marshall.
I like that. Another good line from him is he says, "It seems like nobody understands me." And she says, maybe you should try talking slower and more clearly. He says, "What? No, that's not what I mean."
I think they're leaning on him more. I wonder how much how much plot dedication he got in the previous movies. It feels like once you're on 4, maybe you've got a more distinct idea. Okay, here's where we're gonna hang our hat a little bit more. We're gonna give Zed. We're gonna have Bobcat have an emotional journey with his new paramour.
When I proposed this movie, I didn't actually know why it was 4. Why Police Academy 4. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure this was one of my theories. I'm pretty sure the reason is that this is his best one.
Okay.
Like his character is the best in this one. I think he was not as first he's like a criminal and then he's trying to figure out how to be a cop. This one he is the good guy, and I think it works the best for him.
I
think, but I would have to watch the other ones. But
I mean, he's if we were to use, say, a basketball metaphor for this movie, I know this is unheard of. He's sort of the Guy Santos of this, because he's coming in with a lot of energy. I think everybody in this movie, when they were making the movie, they were like, "Look, if you want to start, if you want to get those minutes, you just got to prove it. You just come in and prove it." And I think that the reality is that Hooks didn't prove it. If she's not in it, they are not ashamed of any gag that's kind of working in this. And I think that it didn't. She didn't do it. She didn't do it. I'm sorry.
I think the Bobcat probably had the right mindset from day one on this. Came into camp ready to go. Probably had a few gags up his sleeve.
Yeah.
Did the homework.
Best shape of his life.
He's a grinder out there. DT, your look of silent confusion when Kevin said Guy Santos. You have to appreciate that Kevin's basketball knowledge all centers around whoever's at the end of the Warriors bench. That is not a name that I think has general appreciation around the league.
I think you guys, I don't know if you guys saw my last night's stream, but we did talk about Mo Spates for a little bit longer than probably most.
Money Mo.
Most would.
You did. Most would. I accidentally muted it at one point, so then I was like, "Wait, you guys aren't talking shit about Mo Buckets, are you?" Dan assured me you were not.
Nope.
The International Police Consortium thing is going on at this point. The commandant
he brought them all back. He brought all his new homies back to Weaversville, USA.
Yeah. I wrote down, though, that apparently this is actually a thing. My guy I've worked with a bunch, his dad, he's from England, and his dad was a Bobby and was sent over to like an exchange program with the Oakland PD. And they would have in the 80s, and they would have him like go in on like and all their weird, like toughest stuff. They'd be like, and this guy goes in with his little Bobby helmet, just like, what's all this then in the, like drug bust of like some den of iniquity. And you have to imagine from the drug user's perspective, how troubling and unreal this must feel. This guy comes in waving his stick.
Yeah. I just want to point out there's something that I just need to address, I think is very important. If you look this movie up on Wikipedia, the description's all wrong.
Oh no.
They don't have the sequence right at all. So
I was just looking over that actually to refresh my memory. So you're saying I've been fed bunk intel here.
it's a bad wiki.
Yeah. Well, it does note that I don't know if I've forgotten anything or if I'm out of sequence. I think we're coming up on the uproarious scene in which Proctor is tricked into freeing all the inmates from the jail by getting involved in a reluctant and kind of indoctrinated game of Simon Says, performed by Randall Tex Cobb.
Simon didn't say. No, but Smith and Wesson does.
I kind of sympathize with Proctor here. This was a pretty fun game of Simon Says that was going on.
The thing that I like about this that is genuinely good and baffling is that he enters with this game in progress. So it's not something, they don't see him and clock, this guy's a moron. We can manipulate him into walking somewhere where someone can grab his gun, which is what happens with the Simon Says game. They're like, no, we were playing Simon Says. And now, very opportunistically, we've realized that we can now use this game to break out of prison.
Yeah, no, you thought about it more than you were supposed to. Just so you know.
I don't know. It feels like a moment in like a LucasArts point and click game that like everybody's already playing Simon Says when you come in. So in order to get to this point, first all the cop people. The citizens on patrol, confusingly called cop, were trying to bust up a bunch of a thievery ring where everybody's selling like VCRs and Macintosh computers.
Yeah, they had some Macs in there.
Yeah, I was looking at the box of VCRs. I was like, remember how much difference they tried to make us believe there was between various VCRs, and now you're just like, I don't know. They all play tapes, right? They're all pretty straightforward. I don't know if it has 4 heads or some number less than 4. 4 is good. But the Macs, I was like, you guys got to keep those because those will be collector's items, unlike the VCRs that you think are top of the line. But then it turns out that this was a police sting, that then they broke up the police part of it. So they fucked it up, and which is part of the problem. They can't coordinate with the cops because they are not cops.
Right.
So then they're like, all right, this whole thing is suspended. And then he goes along with the game of Simon Says and takes too many steps back and is grabbed from behind by criminals in the cell. Also earlier, just as like a very quick, again, one line setup, Harris is talking to whatever the commissioner and saying like, here's all the people we've busted. And Proctor is like, don't forget the ninja gang. I really like them. And then in the cell, you see just like guys in black ninja suits they've been allowed to keep and their masks.
So
so they get out too. And then it's just mayhem. It's just GTA 3 out here. And the citizens are needed.
I just want to point this. I'm sorry. I have to go back to this. Wikipedia says that the program is suspended, much to Harris's delight. Mahoney believes he did it on purpose to shut down the COP program. That did not happen at all.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Paying him back by putting super glue on the mouthpiece of Harris's bullhorn. That happened before this.
No.
Debacle.
Maybe they have a copy of the original script, and like some of this flowed in a natural way.
Can any asshole make a Wikipedia article?
Look, you can change it. If you register, you can fix this.
Jeez.
And I think you're just the man to do it.
Man,
I do agree with that.
I'm feeling the passion.
So now it's the mad scramble. They found Proctor in the jail cell after Harris is set up. Like, oh, this is where we put all the perverts. And then it's like there he is, just kind of like lounging. And so then
he's a little too laissez-faire about it. They're like, what are you doing in there? And then they realize the criminals have guns on them. And Proctor's like, well, that's pretty much how it happened. It's like, no, you made a huge mistake. You need to be a bit more apologetic.
Oh, man.
That's how it happened. Sort of a passive voice explanation.
Yeah. Anytime Proctor's on the screen, I am smiling. When he's later on, he's doing He's doing the nobody knows and just having a gay old time in the jail cell. He's like, I'm a prisoner. He.
He's got a good attitude.
Yeah.
So how does it come down that the COP are taking care of business? Mrs. Feldman is certainly pivotally involved. She is on the radio, but I don't remember how she gets to the radio.
She inexplicably, it's without any, backstory. She's just at the 19th precinct, which is not the police academy, or maybe it is. I don't know. Who cares? But she's there. She just notices a bunch of ruffians running out of the building. Like, we got a jailbreak. This is Mrs. F. Let's go. And then, next thing you know, she's riding with Tackleberry trying to catch some of these guys.
Every one of these movies that I recall goes from, oh, they're fucking up all over the place, to it's like an Amelia Bedelia story where it's like, oh, she was messing up all along, but now she's brought it all home and she saved the day. I feel like am I supposed to be moved by it when they're doing well? Like, are you supposed to be like, is there a swell that's supposed to come up in your chest?
That's
when
what
the music itself swells? Because it does feel like it's genuine, and they're like, okay, fun time's over. Like, there will be more fun, but fun time basically is over, and now it's time for the hero moment, and you should be like, pumping your fists.
Side question: is this the biggest gap between greatness of the score to greatness of the movie?
Yeah. The score it feels like a real movie. It helps so much.
It's so good,
in the whole thing. And then they'll have like the like sinister minor key version playing when Harris is doing stuff. Very good.
It's just unreal. But yeah, no,
unlike the Brian Wilson song at the end of the credits.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm glad you guys stayed around for that.
Yeah.
I believe Wikipedia mentions that song was nominated for a Razzie.
Oh, that's fair.
And I was like,
tough on O'Brien.
I was like, yeah, that song was not good.
Yeah, it's no Kokomo. Sorry, Brian Wilson. We know where the talent was in the Beach Boys. It's Mike Love.
Yeah. What was the name of that song? It was "Let's Go to Heaven in My Car."
We're not gonna pay attention to any red lights. It's like, you should listen when somebody's like, "Oh, red light."
Yeah. No, it's bad. It's bad. I think that was a dark time for Brian Wilson.
I do think so.
Is that the Landy years? Is he with Dr. Landy at this point? I think he is.
I presume.
I'm pretty sure.
So there are various things going on. Tackleberry and Feldman are driving up to. They see a cop car that's parked askew on the sidewalk in front of a bank, and he's like, "Oh, there's a bank robbery going on because it's a stolen cop car. They're definitely doing that." Which is why I said Grand Theft Auto. So then he busts into the bank and is like, "Freeze!" and points at all the clearly hostages just standing there. And somebody, the criminals, hold the gun to his head and says, "Good idea." But then Mrs. F drives in on a motorcycle through the plate glass window and distracts them enough, knocks one down or something, that then Tackleberry gets his massive gun and goes their way.
I wonder if where this ranks as the all-time just noticeable stunt doubles.
Yes, there's a few. I think number one for me is when what is soon to come, the hot air balloon stuff. You might not predict at this point. You would think, why? What are you talking about? How do we get there? The answer is we just sort of do. We just go to a field full of hot air balloons. But there's also the stuff on a boat with the Japanese guy and Callahan, and they fight ninjas, and so too does Jones. Jones does his kung fu badly dubbed thing, and that just makes you a good kung fu fighter.
All right, Samuel, what you want?
Right. He's aware that kung fu movies exist. So
ergo,
he's able to dispatch several ninjas.
Yes. I guess self-described ninjas, but still.
Admirably little explanation for why there was a cadre of ninjas in their prison.
Yeah. Elvis, the cop, reaches into his jacket for a gun or something, and then pulls out chopsticks. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I just think you would, in the moment, you'd be like, well, that's chopsticks. You'd feel the shape of them.
The choreography of this scene is pretty shocking. But I am 100% sure that this scene played very well for me as a 7-8-year-old.
Oh yeah.
But, man,
definitely. If you tell me there's ninjas in a movie, I'd probably like the movie at 6, 7.
Watching it back is a little tough though. This might have been the toughest adult moment for me, just watching the ninjas be like, huh, oh no, I missed. And then Jones grabs my arm and does a whole bit with my arm.
Yeah. I wrote down they were paralyzed by the wackiness. Like he's just making too many weird noises and stuff, and they're just like, I don't know what to do with this.
Best explanation I've heard.
So then Mahoney and Co. Sharon Stone, I believe, is there. Are driving, chasing the criminals. They get into Red Baron style propeller plane, and some get into a hot air balloon, and there are hot air balloons and prop planes out there. Mahoney's like, I'm not, this is where I draw the line. I'm not getting in one of those balloons. Like, what did you think? You're going to get in a hot air balloon and chase down a plane? That was what you're like, I'm not doing that. And then Sharon Stone's like, don't worry, we're getting in this other propeller plane. I'm going to be flying it. Everyone can fly planes in this. Suddenly we learn facts we hadn't had.
She might have had some inside knowledge here. I feel like she kind of already had a little bit of outfit that kind of fit the
she was ready to go with her aviator look.
That's her secret power.
We
fit right in. I was kind of happy. I feel like Sharon Stone, pretty serious actress mostly. I was glad she got to have this wacky 80s moment. I did not know she was in this movie. But seeing her be like, Mahoney, whoa. I was like, God, good for her. I'm glad she got to experience this.
Yeah. And she's
I'm sure she was too.
Looks back fondly. She's the hyper competent girlfriend character where it's like, oh, she can fly the plane, but she also does like a barrel roll and stuff. So then they're chasing down the criminals. You really at this point have to feel like, well, if they'll run out of gas, they'll have to land. We don't need to like shoot them down or something. But no, it's balls to the wall at all times. Tackleberry goes up in a hot air balloon. He jumps out of the hot air balloon onto another hot air balloon, and he just like skydives to it and then slides down it.
Right.
But there's a cut. Just a quick shot of him, like, could not be less in the air than he is. I don't think that he's even out of doors, and he's just like, and I got a huge laugh out of that. And then the criminals that are in the hot air balloon are just like rockabilly dudes. Like there's no indication of like what they did or what's bad about them, and they just look like they're just in the balloon. They're just like looking around. That shot I laughed at. I don't even think that was on purpose. I think they probably shot them doing something at some point, and then they're like, let's just throw in this shot of them.
That wasn't supposed to be funny. They just couldn't think of anything there.
Yeah.
License and registration, please, was supposed to be funny, and it kind of was.
Yeah, was that right? Proctor and Harris go up in a balloon, but Proctor shoots a warning shot for the other balloon up in his own balloon, and then they're falling.
I should give him a warning shot first.
Imbecile! Are you happy now?
Well, at least it looks like we're coming down in the river, sir.
Proctor's like, I can't swim. We're falling to the river, but I can't swim. And Harris is like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to kill you.
It won't matter because you're going to be dead!
Pretty beautiful!
But then when he's actually like going for him, it's like shot directly from above, and it's really Proctor, and then it's like the guy who's in charge of the hot air balloon. So he never like looks up or shows his face to the camera at all. They fall into the water, and he's like, oh, I hate the water. So, and there is something about the way he said like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, Oh, you'll be dead. It
Yeah.
sounded like my old line from the G.I. Joe TV show, or
Yeah,
it's like, and then he's like, I hate the water. I was like, oh, I love the water. So there's just a lot of now we know references in this for the canny viewer.
Yeah. This is you get sort of a Tom Cruise at his peak here, jumping out of planes, doing all his own stunts. So too are the boys of Police Academy into that life. At one point, someone says, "Oh, you look a little like Tom Cruise in Top Gun." I'm like, that would only get more true as time went on. He's all about jumping out of and hanging off of planes now.
It's true. I think this was like half the budget of this movie was this section. And it's
when you get here,
shot, it's pretty good. It's like it goes along. I'm not like happy that the movie's still going on at this point, but you're not like dragged down as you think you might be.
It was mildly impressive, getting some biplanes in the mix. You know, you could tell there was, unfortunately, there was the Taco Bell, and then there was a scene after he jumps out of the plane. It's still Sweet Chuck and Zeb, and then you get a shot of them wrestling, and then there's a third guy in the plane. And it's like, did you not know? Like, what did you guys lose track of what the fuck was happening here? Taco Bell jumped out of the plane. There should not be a guy chill. Then there's another scene where when Mahoney gets on the bad guy's plane, he like, points the gun at him, but he's at first he's like wrestling with them or something, but then there's a guy in the back who's just chilling, and it's just he's distractingly uninterested in what's happening. I'm sure that is the actual pilot, like
right?
The guy who could actually fly the plane, and he just was not. They didn't. They're like, you don't get to act.
Didn't give him a direction.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So he's just chilling. Oh no, Mahoney is here to arrest us. Well, that's too bad.
I guess I'll let him.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like Shakey's Pizza going on here in this sequence. But I would say I think that when I watched this as a kid, I was like, holy shit, look at this. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we do it constantly, but compare that to a movie of similar budget that is made now. There would be no plane in a sky that happened because that movie was made. That you wouldn't see that at all. The fact that like the new Top Gun movie, they're like, oh, they're using real planes. Yeah, of course they're using, like, we want to see stuff happening.
Yeah.
And this was a time where it's just like we have so many like stunt pilots around that we can get them at a normal price and just have them go up there and do this this third sequel to a franchise that no one expected to be as popular as it was.
I think that this ending is a little tough to watch now, but I'm pretty sure that this was a pretty big part of why this movie was a big deal. I think that people were like, oh, we got to watch this. We got some planes and some hot air balloons. Like, let me go see what this is all about. This is going to be some top-notch theater action.
Yeah,
Mahoney's going to ride a hot air balloon.
Yeah. I sure pictured this movie as being like a lot lower budget looking. I was like, by the fourth one, they just had no budget. Was my expectation going into it, and I was blown away for sure. So anything else about the plane fight? They win, and the good guys win, and the bad guys of whatever stripe go down.
Yeah. I mean, Harris gets saved by the very idiots that the skater guys, and the lawyer the lawyer's there. You can see this guy, just no explanation. He's in the mix with House. He's there in like full lawyer garb. The lawyer character, obviously there were some scenes that were cut. But yeah, they save Harris, and so oh no. So it's like he finally, it kind of came full circle, right? So, and then for some reason, Mahoney, it just gets a Police Academy hot air balloon at the very end.
Yeah. He just has a Police Academy hot air balloon, and he's in it with Sharon Stone and toasts her with champagne and says, to the Academy, in a way that feels like, are we talking about the Oscars?
To the Academy.
To the Academy.
Are you just referencing like, fuck all you guys?
Yeah.
We know that you hate us and don't respect us. We're gonna quadruple our money on this one too. Cheers. Enough champagne to fill all the plot holes.
I think that this movie probably, for people that hate thinking, probably made a lot of sense.
That's the most that's the most critical thing you've said all night. So I do want to just flag this because I think it's interesting. You referenced we're going to make so much money on this thing. How could they still have this much money coming in and this low a budget in 4? Or how could they have this low a budget for all the stuff they have, all the car crashes and plane chases? I'm gonna walk you through here quick at the end the budgets and box office takes for each of these because they tell an interesting tale. The first, Police Academy, 4.8 million budget, a staggering 149 million return.
What?
Now, let me just take a look here. Inflation calculator. This is where it gets fun.
That's just an absolute dream.
Yeah, if in 1984, 149.
I was gonna guess that the first one was under 10 mil on the budge.
So if we are to adjust for inflation, the first Police Academy made about $460 million.
Yeah. Let's go. And then they were like, get us 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the next 4 years.
And then number 2, the budget ups. It's now 7.5 million, and the take lowers, but it's still 115 million. Still excellent.
Whoa.
Then 3, the budget again gets a bump, 12 million. The box office goes down a little, but still very high, 107 million, 107. Then we have the one we just watched. This is the highest budget of any of the movies so far at 17 million, a whopping 17. And again, the box office is waning. It's now at 76.8. But still, that's a return any movie would kill for.
Yeah.
Then next up, 14 million. They back off the budget just a little bit. 5, the first one to reel the budget back in. And it makes the lowest amount to date, still 54.5 million. Still a handsome profit. Then number 6, City Under Siege. This is where obviously there's been red flags here. Every single one, the same thing is happening. And they're like, how? Another one? Another one? Now the budget is 15 million. The box office return is 33.2 million. When you factor in whatever they were doing I don't know how much they were doing for advertising for this movie at this point, but that's not where you want it to be. And then Mission to Moscow cost 10 million.
Imagine it came to the theaters.
The first movie of the lot that failed to outgross its budget, a 10 million budget, a 4.3 million box office return. But you total all that up, I bet if you crunch the numbers, you're like, this fucking movie series made like more than $2 billion if you adjust for inflation. Over the course of 10 years, an absolute juggernaut, which I had no idea of. You never could have told me that certainly that the first one was like, oh, this was roughly like, a Star Wars movie in terms of the amount it made at the box office.
Yeah.
Wowie. Yeah, I don't know. I was the guy. I was curious to see if this would hold up, and I just think, yeah, it's definitely a little more tailored towards kids.
Yeah,
but it doesn't ever really make any promises it doesn't keep. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like there should not you should not have any expectations beyond what it is going in, right?
You could not be disappointed by this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I agree. I will speak my truth plainly. I don't think this is a very good movie, but I don't begrudge your affinity for it, and certainly there are a number of things about it that make me nostalgic for back when you could have movies like this. If only they were still making this kind of movie. I agree with you that it's a little more oriented to the kids, although specifically kids who love the juvenile humor but also love a rockin' pair of tits.
Those kids exist. I was sure that I would watch it and hate it and think it was terrible and not understand why I liked it as a kid. I don't think it's very good. I certainly can't recommend it to anybody, but I 1000% get why I loved it as a kid. And really wouldn't not show it to a kid. I wouldn't seek it out to show it to somebody, but it's like I think it would still kind of hit. I think it's more good than bad in its way. And it's such a I really just do sort of tip my cap to the branding, the on messageness of it. It's it is itself, and it is the fourth in the series where you'd think that not only would you be getting diminishing returns, when in fact you get some of the best Bobcat Goldthwait stuff of the series, but you also like there isn't that feeling of like, why are we doing this again? Because the plot is so ridiculous on its face that you just kind of roll with that. It's like, yeah, who even cares? Everyone knows this is a bad idea, and that's the idea of the movie, is that this is a bad idea that they're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's okay that this is a bad idea that we're doing. It's like the little smoke screen. Anyway, I was shocked at how well it held up, even as I was not like having a raucous good time. I was still like, I'm not having a bad time. I wasn't wishing for it to be over. I just was like, it's enough already. But
I gotta be honest, Kevin, I take your review at your word, but I feel like if I scroll back to the start of this episode, your initial takes at the beginning felt a little more negative and a little more daunted by it. And I think what we have here is the relentless positivity and the borderline propaganda campaign of DT here has subtly bumped your rhetoric up to a level it would not. If you and I were just doing this ourselves, it would not have been as rosy a sum up, I bet.
It could well be true, but I do stand by everything that I said, that I was like, oh, I had a much better time than I was expecting. It wasn't as good as the night I might have had tonight, but that's not the night that I had. So instead I watched Police Academy 4. I think that's most of my negative opinion. I mean, not on the movie, but the tone coming into it was of
there was plenty of Callahan. You had a fine day.
Yeah, you were masturbating feverishly during this movie, right? I assumed it was a given that we were all doing that.
In certain scenes.
Yeah.
They don't last long enough. As I said, it's too quick to move on to the next one.
But then then suddenly she swims away, and now I'm looking at Bobcat, and I'm like, oh no, I have to stop. Oh, did I stop in time, or was I technically masturbating to Bobcat Goldthwait there for a second?
A pair of smoking tits to a pair of smoking pits. Captain Harris's smoking armpits.
How do you think watching this affected you as a kid?
Yeah, good question. I think it may be probably a little like 2% more awesome.
Okay. All right. This is good. I like empiricism. I like numbers. We usually don't get the stats on this.
Yeah. I think this made me a little bit cooler. And especially David Spade just adopted some of his coolness, probably. I think that there is some stuff that's a little questionable in this movie, but I think honestly they were pretty cognizant that kids were going to watch this. They really didn't screw up with that stuff that much. I think they knew that kids wanted this type of thing, and they did a pretty good job of keeping it PG. For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. Okay, what do you think the kid-friendliest bit of this movie is?
Well, definitely just all the sight gags. So I showed it to Gus and Max. They were kind of doing other stuff, but they kept coming in. Gus laughed out loud when he came in with the things like that. That's pretty cool.
With his arms propped up because of his smoking armpits.
Yeah. And then when I was a kid, like I said, I rewound that skating montage. That thing was freaking sweet. That was sweet. I was excited. I guarantee you that's what happened when I saw this. When I brought home this VHS, I rewound that sucker, that part, a couple times because that was just that was dope.
I suppose we already have the answer to this one, but would you show a child this movie? The answer, yes, I have.
Yeah, I ran it back after watching it critically, and then I ran it back and let them check it out as they were doing other stuff, and they were pretty into it. Well, actually, no. When I first started, Max said because he wanted to watch some stupid YouTube thing, and this is the problem with like 80s movies. I mean, less 80s movie. Imagine watching like a 70s movie with a kid nowadays. Like the YouTube stuff is too, they don't waste any time at all. So I think he wanted to do something like that. And so I showed it and he goes, too much talking. Is what he said. But then kind of as the mood shifted and they got to watch, I let them watch some of their other crap for a while. And then I came back to it and sort of didn't really force it on him. Then he started really getting into it. Max watched the whole ending with the biplanes. He was riveted. And he was like, that might have been the best movie I ever saw.
The apple didn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah. And Gus was equally into it. They both, when the skating part happened, they were like, it was like 2 straight minutes of just locked in. So, and then I asked Max what was his favorite characters, or who's his favorite character. He thought about it and he was like, as they were going through the credits, and he was like, I think I like the girl, Sharon Stone's character. Okay. I think she just happened to be on the screen at the time or something. But then
I can remember them all, but I think this one on the screen now is the one I liked best.
So I don't know. Then he kind of, when I pressed him, he's like, yeah, I like the skaters.
There you go. So, I like Tony Hawk pretending to be David Spade.
like Tony Hawk, who's 6 inches taller than David Spade. Skater double.
Yeah. And when would your mom have walked in when you were watching this as a kid? What embarrassing moment.
Yeah, that would definitely be when Callahan pops out of the pool.
Yeah.
Did was there a tension around you seeing like too much hot, sexy content when you were a kid? I feel like a lot of different parents have different standards on this. Some of them just kind of are like, well, what will be, que sera. And some are a little more antsy about such things.
My parents, I honestly don't remember them saying a whole hell of a lot. I think that the ignore strat was utilized.
Yeah.
And I think that is a strat that I'm going to utilize going forward. If something weird happens on screen, I'm just not going to bring it up because they'll remember it. Because the one time I remember like hell, the one time my dad actually said something about something like this, it was the movie Species.
Yeah, fair.
And Natasha Hentridge, has she just mounts a guy and just rides him, trying to get his trying to get him to procreate with her,
right?
And as we were driving home, he goes, "Yeah, a little sex ed there, huh?" Yeah, please don't ever talk about that with me again.
Yeah,
great.
What we don't talk about can't hurt us.
I was like maybe 13 when that movie came out.
Okay, all right, yeah.
And the final question: what would you say this says about society at the time?
I think that in the 80s there was a big sort of backlash against order. And just you gotta let the wackies just wacky, man. They might wacky their way into cracking the case.
Yeah.
That's wasn't that kind of the vibe of this? I don't know.
1,000%. Yeah, no, that is what was going on in that era where it's like, oh, we're all business. It's all Reagan and Patrick Bateman. And then it's like, but all these movies, this Revenge of the Nerds, things of this nature, where it's just like, oh no, but the weirdos, they're really, don't count them out.
Yeah.
They'll be useful. It's not even like that they are like good or you should care about them as people. It's just like, no, but they'll be useful in your maintenance of the order.
Back to the lawyer, if I will.
That's it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. Check out the video podcast at Now We Know Pod on YouTube, as well as your standard audio podcast. Our theme music is by Seth Milstein, aka No Rush. You can find his work at norush85.bandcamp.com. You can also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast, or subscribe to us on YouTube at Now We Know Pod. Follow us on social media, also at Now We Know Pod on Twitter, also known as x.com, and Instagram. And check out the Patreon, patreon.com/nowweknow, where for the low price of $5 a month, you get 2 full bonus episodes per month, making this a weekly podcast, as opposed to the bi-weekly show we do here on the main feed. Want to be part of the show? Call the Now We Know hotline at
415-349-3659 and leave a message.
So now we know, but what do we know?
Rose is displeased. What to do?
Brad's the executive plumber.
Does your kind ever think about love, Chuck?
I'll ask him, but I don't think he'll be very keen. He's already got one, you see.
If I were the boy in the purple socks, I'd hang myself.
The heart of a pig.
Muffins are so simple.
Where did Doc and Dopey sleep?
I'll say, there's something a little about a boy that's never played baseball.
Peckerhead.
So now we know.
We know now.
Bye.
Bye. Say goodbye.
Say bye.
Oh, hey, goodbye.